This is David Paul Hammer. Sir,
This is David Paul Hammer, and I'm coming to you live from a federal death row in Indiana.
Okay, quickly, tell folks, in case they cut you off, exactly what Tim McVeigh told you.
Wow, where to start? I was here with Timothy McVeigh from July 1999 until his execution in June of 2001. I had numerous conversations with him over that prolonged period of time. We made an agreement for him to provide information to me that could be verified in order for me to write a book. He knew of my intentions to write a book about him and the Oklahoma City bombing. Along the way, he would provide me information, and I would provide it to people on the outside to try and verify as much as they could. The result of that is my most recent book called Deadly Secrets. McVeigh told me and another inmate here that he was actually an agent working for a guy he called the Major, and he allegedly met this man when he reported to for special trainings duty, and he was told to wash out of special training and asked to accept what was called black ops operations, and he would be working as an independent person as a part of, and that he would recruit people to be in his unit. According to McVeigh, this association went on for several years, from the end of 1992, throughout the days of the bombing of the Murrah building on April 19th, 1995. This person he identified as the Major also provided financing for the Oklahoma City bombing, at least $60,000 over a 2-year period of time. During the weeks leading up to the bombing, McVeigh was in daily contact with this individual, and the person that the Major had selected to work with McVeigh to actually build the bomb. And according to McVeigh, they built the bomb that blew up the Murrah building at a warehouse in Oklahoma City on the 18th of April of 1995.
Now, to be clear, Terry Nichols has signed a sworn affidavit also, and that McVeigh told him he was black ops. McVeigh was also videotaped. This has been covered by national news. A year after he was supposedly at the military, at a demolitions base. And, of course, also Jesse Trinidad and others have sued and gotten the secret documents. This has been in major newspapers, that the FBI anti-terror team was there the week before. They lied about that and said they weren't. Of course, we've had Jane Graham and other witnesses who were inside who saw McVeigh in the building, and other maintenance men planting gray sticks of butter. The grand jury was given this info, but Hoppy Heidelberg was told to shut up, the foreman of the grand jury. So what you're saying dovetails with what McVeigh has told others. Specifically, what else did McVeigh tell you, sir?
Well, he also told me about the bombing that the Major had told him that another team was placing C4 explosives inside the Murrah building, and that there was actually 2 bombs went off, the bomb that he built as well as the C4 explosives inside the building. And something you touched on about the military, through these classified documents that Mr. Trinidad and other people have been able to gather, McVeigh's Army records show that he has a secret military clearance through 1996 that didn't expire to 1996, even though he allegedly was out of the service by 1992, including his stint with the Army National Guard in New York. McVeigh told us that as part of his preparation and training for the Murrah building bombing, that he actually did visit some military bases that these meetings were arranged by the Major, and that he at one point considered stealing explosives from military bases to build his bomb rather than to use a fertilizer bomb.
Now, McVeigh had told other people things like this, but then we're given these supposed media tapes, audio tapes, with him telling a different story, but it's also even come out in Newsweek that he said one day it will come out that the government did this. Specifically, how were they controlling McVeigh? Did you ever see Jolly and West in there with him? Why do we get different versions, or is that the media cutting and pasting?
No, I believe that a lot of what you're getting is what McVeigh wanted out. His so-called story, the lone wolf mastermind. I mean, that's the story that McVeigh wanted portrayed to the public, at least after his death. And I mean, recently I listened to the national broadcast of the tapes, which was really nothing more than a verbal report on the book that Lou Michel and the other fellow Herbeck wrote about McVeigh. Mainly, it really made me want to puke as I was listening to and watching this program, because it was nothing more than the official version of what allegedly happened in Oklahoma City. And having heard from Tim's own mouth time after time after time other things that contradicted that official story, and having been able to verify these things, it really amazes me that the public continues, or at least some of the public continues, to buy this official version of the Oklahoma City bombing. I mean, it defies logic if you look at McVeigh and all of his travels and the things that he did, the odd jobs that he held along the way. There's no way he could have even supported himself, let alone put together money for a bomb of the type that they built. Actually, for what it's worth, I was at the ADX, that's the federal supermax prison in Florence, Colorado, where Terry Nichols is currently housed. I was there with McVeigh before they activated the federal death row unit, and so the tapes, the first two days of taping that he did with Lou Michel, I was in a cubicle right next to him that's plexiglass. I could see Tim. He was walking around and gesturing wildly, and which is how Tim was when he was telling a story or talking about something that excited him. And you could overhear bits and pieces of the conversation. I was there with my attorney, so we weren't really trying to listen to his conversation, but sometimes you couldn't help but hear it. And the fact that my attorney had never been around McVeigh or seen him, he was kind of paying attention. And then they finished up the second 2 days of that interview in January of 1999 after we had arrived here in Terre Haute. And Tim would come back from talking with the reporters, and we would have question and answer services through the door, and we were in cells just a couple of cells apart, and here you communicate through the door out the back window. That was at the old prison where we were. We're actually in a new facility now, but where Tim and I were, it was easy for us to communicate, so we didn't have to necessarily be outside of recreation.
Real fast, David Paul Hammer, we're going to skip this break in case you get cut off. Just to have it on record, they have been keeping you from talking to the media.
I'm not allowed to talk to the media, and I fought it for 11 years in court. The last news media interview that was allowed here was Timothy McVeigh's interview on 60 Minutes. After that, they stopped all media interviews, live, face-to-face, or otherwise. There's a very limited situation where you can get a monitored telephone interview.
Incredible, and this interview. I mean, why are you speaking out now here on this show? I mean, in case they kick you off.
It's very simple, Alex. I want the truth to come out. I want people to investigate. The facts are there. I've laid out the facts in my latest book, Deadly Secrets. And I'm not just promoting the book or trying to plug the book. Obviously, I want to do that, but it's more than that. There's a roadmap to an investigation, and if anyone that has the power to do it will just initiate an investigation. A grand jury investigation is what is needed. I mean, there's been other FBI people who said that. It seems to me, and I've said this before, but Alex, someone has to care what happened in Oklahoma City. I mean, I understand that 9/11 happened, and it was far more people lost their lives, and it was more damage, and it was more. But Oklahoma happened before that.
I hear you, David. David, they could cut you off any time. Other things that McVeigh told you. Did he ever talk about, how he was black ops, which other people signed affidavits on, like Terry Nichols? Did he ever talk about that and why he was? Did he ever try to get this information out? Were they threatening his family? Was he angry about being set up as a patsy? Why did the government bomb it?
He obviously, anytime you would mention it or ask him or bring up the possibility that he was set up as a patsy, he said absolutely not, that things happened by design. No, he never said that he was being threatened. He made it appear in all of his conversations with us that he truly believed he was working for